I am 30 years old at the time of filming this. I've totaled over 2,000 pounds in 3 different weight classes and coached so many 500 plus dot scores that I've stopped counting. But it didn't start this way, and if I could go back in time to tell 17-year-old Seth one thing, it would be everything in this video. Because at 17, I wasn't prepared for where powerlifting would take me or what it would take to get there. Because I remember coming up, watching the old super training videos of Stan and Dan smashing weights and thinking, man, that looks easy. I figured they got there because they worked hard, and as long as I worked hard enough for long enough, it would look just as easy for me. Because training hard was fun, and I thought that was enough. But the problem was, I didn't even understand what hard work meant. I thought all I had to do was smash weights and crush calories, and I didn't care about anything outside of powerlifting, which meant that I was all in. But I wasn't. I was lazy. Yeah, I did train hard, but only in the ways I liked. I was avoiding anything that didn't come naturally, anything that didn't boost my ego, and for a while, I thought it worked because I made huge progress until I didn't. My first major injury almost took me out of the sport. Not because the injury was that devastating, but because I had no idea how to face what came next. I wasn't mentally equipped to do what was necessary because here's the truth. You could not become successful by clinging to the same beliefs that got you stuck. If you want to accomplish something meaningful, it starts by changing who you are and how you think about training, adversity, and growth. Because for years, I thought I was doing everything I could to rehab my knee. I kept asking myself, why isn't it getting better? Why isn't this working? I blamed bad luck, and I thought that life just wasn't fair. But out of desperation, the penny finally dropped. If you're not working in the right places, it doesn't matter how hard you go, you're not going to make it. You are where you are because of what you believe. That realization hit me like a truck because I had to wipe the slate clean, ditch the self-limiting beliefs, forget about the things I liked that weren't actually helping me, and retrain my mind to love the things that I was avoiding. That process kicked my ass. It humbled me. And still, I was dumb enough to believe that once I got past the knee injury, it would be smooth sailing. I had no idea that every pound I'd add to my total from that point on would be harder than the last. Every time I thought I was on the edge of a breakthrough, I'd get slammed right back down to the ground. When I thought I had a shot at the Canadian all-time squat record at 242, I botched my water cut, went 4 for 9, and embarrassed myself on the biggest platform I'd ever step on. It took me 3 more meets, but I finally figured out the cut and hit 854 at 242, which was 150 pounds more than I squatted when I was about to quit. A year later, I believe the Canadian 275 squat record was mine again, but with that record loaded on the bar, I tore my adductor longus, my adductor brevis, my pectineus, my gracilis, and my rectus abdominis off my pelvis. I was told that I'd never squat competitively again, but I refused to accept that, and somehow 20 weeks later, I came back and took the record. The next fall, I was on track to hit the biggest Canadian total of all time, and on my 3rd bench attempt, I tore my pec right off, which set me back another 9 months, and I still haven't gotten anywhere near that total record. But I hit a PR total 9 months before the physical therapist I was assigned to said I'd even be able to start pressing an empty barbell again. And every one of those setbacks, people told me to quit. They told me my goals were too big, that I'd never figure it out. Part of me wanted to believe them because it would have been so much easier to walk away and just tell myself it wasn't meant for me. But the people saying that, they'd never accomplished anything. They'd never applied themselves hard enough to even hit real adversity, and if they have, they were the ones who quit. The difference between them and me, I didn't. I learned to love rock bottom because every time I hit it, it gave me the chance to look in the mirror and ask myself, am I really as good as I think I am? Every time I've asked that, I didn't know the answer, which terrified me. But that fear, that is the greatest motivator I've ever found. Because just like working hard in the wrong places gets you nowhere, trying your best doesn't mean shit if your best isn't good enough. Every roadblock you hit is a reflection of how you are thinking. You have to admit that you're not all in as you say you are and be willing to elevate not just your effort, but your execution. Because doing more just doesn't mean more of the same. It means doing things better, doing the things that you are avoiding. That means that your accessories, your conditioning, your movement prep, your nutrition, every piece of your training needs to be as dialed in as you know how to make it. And even when it is dialed in, you can do better. You can always find more. You'll never truly be all in. So stop telling yourself that you are. Because the second you do, you've convinced yourself that there is no higher level, and that lie becomes the crutch that you lean on to avoid the self-confrontation that growth requires. That rock bottom feeling, you're only there because what you're doing isn't good enough. And that feeling is there to teach you something. But you don't need to end up in surgery to learn those lessons. You can avoid the physical pain by choosing to go through the mental. Start digging now before you're forced to. Find the hard things, find the stuff you're avoiding, and do it before you don't have a choice. It won't be fun, it might be humiliating, but if you can choose to do what is required before it is required of you, you will be light years ahead of where you are now. And that is what I am currently working on, because I don't need to be dieting this hard. I don't need to be working towards a recomp. I don't need to feel this weak in training, and I don't like any of it. But I need to go through it because my biggest goals in powerlifting will require a new version of me. I need to elevate myself in order to elevate what is possible. And if I could save 17-year-old Seth a whole lot of pain, I would just tell him this. It is going to be way harder than you think, but that's not a bad thing. Embrace it, because that's the path that will make you who you are. And if you start chasing the hard stuff now, before you're forced to, you will be way ahead of where I am today. And if you're not ready for that, just quit right now, because you aren't going to make it. And getting lifters not to give up, no matter what they're going through, is exactly why I have this channel. Because if I can talk openly about the difficulty in chasing powerlifting at the highest level and all the challenges I've faced along the way, maybe you'll learn to face yours before they break you. And if you're stuck or not progressing like you want, I want to help you elevate yourself and your standards. So hit the link below and join the team so I can personally look at what you're doing right now and help you set up your programming, technique, and intent to get to that next level and even beyond. As you go, we keep looking at everything you do every single training day so we can make sure any modifications necessary will be made so that we keep the ball rolling. It's only $69 a month right now, so sacrificing eating out a few times a month is going to be more than worth the progress you'll make. And if you sign up annually, you're going to save even more. So let's start doing what needs to be done before you're forced to or forced out.